seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? We built a channel where we talk about those faces. Talking News. Debbie. Cassie Barons has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Chattanooga and Middle Valley both behind bars. Sarah Galloway was found. She wasn't found alive. What happened to Sarah Galloway?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're in shame. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chasing a Murder Talking News. Before we get started, you can help the channel out by subscribing and liking and hitting the notification bell. Guys, we are going to go over this thing that we're hearing about on the news right now about Brian being cited. Okay, and guys, if you're not familiar with this story, make sure you check out the older videos before you watch this. So we know right now that Brian Laundrie is a fugitive, and there is a warrant out for his arrest. What we know about Brian is he is an avid hiker, he likes to be outside, and he's a big-time camper. After they found his girlfriend deceased in the Teton Park, the heat really started to boil. According to Brian Laundrie's parents, they said the last time they seen him was September 14th, and they don't know where he went. He left behind his wallet and a phone. Moving forward, we're learning a lot of the facts, and of course they're improving because we're learning, exactly what happened. We're seeing affidavits, which makes a big difference in a story. So what's new? So Brian Laundrie was spotted over the weekend, Saturday to be exact, by an eyewitness who claims that he really believed that this person was Brian that he ran into. According to Haywood County Sheriff Dennis Davis, a Florida hiker, says he sees this guy on Saturday morning. In fact, he actually flagged him down by the Tennessee-North Carolina line. He said the guy was in a white truck and that he noticed that this guy looked exactly like Brian Laundrie, the fugitive everyone is looking for. So here's another strange thing that he said about the guy that he ran into. He says the man seemed dazed and confused. He started rambling on about a fight that he had with his girlfriend. And after talking to him about these problems that he's having, he said the guy that looked like Brian proceeded to ask him if he knew the best back roads to take in order to get to California. So Dennis describes him as looking exactly like Brian, and he was pretty positive it was him. Let me play this clip from Fox News for you.
I'm absolutely 100% sure that was the guy. My heart was thumping, and I immediately called the FBI back, and I said, listen, I just called you guys, but I'm telling you, this was the guy.
All right, so you heard him. He is absolutely positive that it was Brian Laundrie in this white truck. First of all, why would Brian be flagging people down when he's a fugitive? Well, the guy says that he seems dazed and confused. Some people are questioning whether or not that he absolutely saw Brian. Maybe he's making this up for attention. I don't know why somebody would do that. Some people believe that he did see Brian and that this might be a distraction to lead people a different direction. As we know, that seems to be a suspicion from the very beginning when he goes missing, and his parents called the police to report him missing. They said, well, they reported him missing in September 14th, I believe, but he had gone missing days before that, so it would have been Tuesday of that week. Now, we've heard a few people that are lookalikes, so doppelgangers or whatever you call them, if I don't say it right, sorry, that have said people have approached them and thought that they look like Brian, or they claim he is Brian. One guy said they come up to him and ask him straight up, "Are you Brian, the fugitive that's running?" So, it's a very strange case, So one of the most important things I noticed that this witness said, Dennis Davis, is that he noticed that this guy that looked like Brian was in a white truck. Also, he was saying that Brian was asking him about back roads to California. So if Brian doesn't have a phone, I guess that could be something he would do. He doesn't have access to the internet, so he won't be able to use those hiking apps and the camping apps that he's used to using. But has a white truck been reported stolen? Well, here we are. We're going into Monday and soon Tuesday. And if that guy was Brian, I'm pretty sure the FBI would have found him pretty quickly. So here's what I found in a few articles. So according to Dennis, a bounty hunter's daughter sends him an audio of Brian's voice. So for him, he says this guy that he's seen at the Appalachians was a very familiar, or had the same audio voice as the guy that he got this audio piece from. So why are people thinking that Brian would live in the Appalachians alone? Well, we're hearing that supposedly he reports that he did live several months by himself in the Appalachians. So let's say that's true. So if Brian's not on foot any longer and he's in a white truck, well, how easy is it going to be to find him? If that is Brian, well, it's going to be interesting to know where that white truck come from. We know he's broke, so where did the money come from if he bought it? And again, I want to say, is there a stolen truck reported? So if Brian made it to the Appalachians by himself, by foot, well, one thing we know about this trail is it's the longest footpath in the world. And there has been a fugitive or two hide in the Appalachians from serious trouble. 2009, James T. Hemis. He's called to his employer's headquarters in Cincinnati, Ohio. He has to answer some questions to a fraud or scheme that he's being accused of. He was laundering about several $1 million, but James denied having any knowledge of this fraud, and shortly after he left the company's headquarters, he left his wife and his child and just disappeared without any word. And so there's a few, like what they call guest houses along the trail that this guy would stay at. Eventually, after several years of hiking this trail, which is about 2,200 miles in the wilderness from Georgia to Maine, he earned his hiking name, which turned out to be Bismarck. And this is for another video, guys, but there's people that hike this trail often. They get to know each other and they give each other names. And how they gave their hiker name is actually something that other hikers catch them doing. Usually it's a mess up. They say there were some hikers who knocked over a stove and started a fire, and so their trail name became Crash and Burn. And hikers keep notebooks, and they actually share this name, and they become known by this name. So an interesting question is, did Brian actually hike that far alone without being noticed and accumulate a truck through help through other people on the trail? Because who knows, do the people on this trail have access to news? I mean, there's been a woman that actually died on that trail simply because she got lost and she couldn't get her phone to text her husband or anyone to help her. So she wrote in her journal, when you find me, send this journal to my husband and my children, etc., and so on. So it's interesting. Are there people out there talking to Brian and they don't know it's him? So that could be a possibility. We also know that there's these little houses out there that are helping people who are low on money. And so they stay at these little places as a guest for a period of time. Not certain exactly how that works because I haven't had time to research all of that. So these are the possibilities for Brian if he's on the Appalachian Trail. Of course, he could stay hidden. But is he going to go someplace where he knows that he's known to have gone before? A lot of people are curious to know. So going back to the story where this guy says that he's seen Brian on this trail, Dennis Davis, 53, he said he's seen Brian on Waterville Road, which runs along the hiking trail. So the guy waves him down, he rolls down his window, and he starts talking with the guy. Dennis says that he suspects there's something wrong with him, but he can't quite grasp what it is. I mean, like, we would probably think the same thing as what I'm about to tell you. So he says he suspected that he might have been on drugs or mentally shot. And when he starts talking about this fight he had with his girlfriend, he says, "Man, I'm lost." And Dennis says, "What are you trying to find?" So it's at that point, really, that he says that him and his girlfriend got into a fight. But his girlfriend called him later on, I guess, and said she loves him. And at that point, he needed to get to California to see her. So let's think about this. So whoever this guy is in this F Ford 150 white truck drove from California to the state line of Tennessee and North Carolina. It doesn't add up to me. Definitely we have something missing there. And why would he need back roads to get there? I mean, that is odd in itself, and it's a red flag. So Davis said that he called the FBI several times, as well as the Tennessee and North Carolina police, to report the sighting and the truck he was driving. And that call was approximately around 2:40 a.m. Saturday morning. They said Saturday, so that must be it. So what do you guys think? Do you think this could be Brian, or do you think it's just somebody messing around? Perhaps there's another guy out there that just looks like Brian and he's having relationship issues. Thinking back to August 12th when these guys get into a fight and the police pull him over and talk to him. Firstly, we know Brian says he doesn't have a phone, but some people see him pull a phone out of his pocket while talking to police after he said that. Gabby pretty much admits that she was the aggressor. Witnesses say that they didn't really see Brian hit Gabby, just kind of push her away. Brian has marks on his face, and no one really sees any visual signs on Gabby. Well, signs that she had been hurt in this fight. The thing is the cops should have put one of them behind bars, but he didn't. And you can't blame them for what happened. That's for certain. It's not easy to read in between the lines and be a judge on someone you hardly know. But let's go ahead and skip from August 12th, a few weeks later, to August 27th, where witnesses are driving through and they catch the van in Teton Park. Zooming into the van at a particular point in this video, you can see where it appears that the door was open and it kind of creeps shut as their vehicle approaches this van. Later on, a few YouTubers are able to point out that they could see Gabby's sandals in front of that door, and it's suspected that she might have been still alive at that point. But what happened that drove these two at such an aggressive point that one of them lost her life? We know Brian likes to control her because he takes her phone and throws her book bag on top of the van, supposedly tells her to walk away so that they can cool off. Friends of Gabby say that yes, they have fought in the past and that they do separate in order to cool off. Maybe this was a lost opportunity for Brian to walk away like they normally would, because it sounds like through what we know so far, this isn't fact, this is speculation, that they try to separate, or he does, when they get in an argument. And maybe the reason for this is his temperament, and maybe she does get physical with him and him with her. So I often wonder if maybe he was trying to control her again, she got aggressive with him, and he lost his temper. I just don't understand how it got to this point, because these two seem to love each other. Unlike some cases like the Chris Watts case, we know Chris Watts was cheating, and you know, he was just moving a different direction in their relationship. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end it here. Please share below what you think. I threw this together quite quickly. Don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That helps the channel out. I need all the help I can get, guys. And then also, you can donate to my Patreon page at Chasing a Murder if you like the videos and you would like to see me continue to make more videos. And as always, don't forget to check out my older videos where we still have girls that continue to go missing. Love you guys. See you guys soon.